From the Orthodox Christian viewpoint, witchcraft is fundamentally understood as a manifestation of sin and spiritual deception. The Orthodox tradition is rooted in the belief that God created humans to participate in divine life, and any attempt to manipulate supernatural forces outside the will of God represents a corruption of this purpose. Orthodox theology holds that God alone is the source of spiritual power and knowledge. Witchcraft, by seeking to control spirits, manipulate outcomes, or harm others through occult practices, is a usurpation of divine authority. The Orthodox Fathers consistently warn that engagement in witchcraft opens the practitioner to demonic influence. According to St. John Chrysostom and St. Basil the Great, occult practices are intrinsically linked to idolatry because they attribute power to created beings or spirits rather than to God. Witchcraft is seen as a tool of the devil to lead humans away from salvation, with patristic writings often describing witches as those who have sold themselves to demons, echoing Pauline warnings against divination and sorcery, compared to Galatians 5 verses 19 to 21. Orthodox Christianity evaluates human behavior not only theologically but morally. Witchcraft is considered ethically problematic because many practices involve curses, hexes, or manipulation of others' free will, contravening Orthodox ethics that uphold love, mercy, and freedom. The Orthodox spiritual path emphasizes humility and submission to God's providence, whereas witchcraft seeks power outside God's guidance, reflecting pride and self-deification. Additionally, witchcraft is socially disruptive, undermining trust, spreading fear, and encouraging secretive, deceptive behavior, which are spiritually and socially corrosive. Several key Orthodox sources provide explicit critiques of witchcraft. St. John Chrysostom criticized sorcery as a pathway to demonic possession, emphasizing that witches engage in practices contrary to nature and reason, thereby endangering their souls. St. Basil the Great warned against divination and magical arts, arguing that such practices show reliance on demons rather than God. The canons of the Orthodox Church, such as those in the penitential canon of the Apostolic Canons, prescribe penance for sorcery and witchcraft, demonstrating the seriousness with which these acts were treated ecclesiastically. Historically, the Orthodox Church in Byzantine and Slavic lands condemned witchcraft but also emphasized pastoral care over punishment, seeking the repentance and spiritual healing of the practitioner rather than purely punitive measures. This reflects a nuanced understanding of witchcraft as both sin and spiritual affliction. Orthodox spirituality emphasizes ascetic struggle and union with God, theosis. Witchcraft is antithetical to this goal because it bypasses prayer, fasting, and sacraments, traditional means of sanctification, favoring shortcuts to worldly or spiritual power. It fosters attachment to worldly or demonic forces rather than God, leading to spiritual blindness. Orthodox liturgical and spiritual texts often frame exorcism and healing prayers as the proper, God-centered alternative to occult practices. Modern Orthodox theologians often frame witchcraft as a symptom of spiritual malaise, reflecting alienation from God and desire for control over life's uncertainties. It is also viewed as a challenge for pastoral care, emphasizing prayer, confession, and community support rather than fear-based persecution. While not all contemporary witchcraft is overtly demonic, practices that appeal to self-worship, manipulation, or occult forces remain spiritually dangerous. From an Orthodox Christian perspective, witchcraft is both a theological and moral transgression. It represents a usurpation of divine authority, a pathway to demonic deception, and an ethical violation against God and neighbor. Orthodox critiques emphasize the spiritual dangers, the corrupting influence on personal and communal life, and the need for repentance, prayer, and ascetic practice as antidotes. The overarching concern is not merely supernatural fear but the salvation of the soul, which is jeopardized by engaging in occult practices.